So what it is it's a race against time. Now these are the 4 areas that are really going to be critical to our future, and these are areas that we've identified as areas that we want to continue to make economic development in. Animal sector, crop sector, the marine sector, and the forestry sector. Not surprisingly, millions of farmers have adopted biotech crops readily. So what we've done is we've helped stimulate grants in that system that I showed you a while ago with the education, research, and support of entrepreneurs. We've invested in this sector in the last couple of years about $11 million. And the people we've invested it with and the universities have leveraged every dollar 7.7 times. And that's what we're all about, is looking for leverage of our money. So 91.5% of farmers in the U.S. have adopted GMO soybeans, 85% of the corn, and 88% of the cotton in the 2009 crop was planted to biotech varieties. So we're looking at a new generation of crops, and in the last 14 years we've had what I call the first wave of biotechnology-derived crops. But these have been focused mainly on what scientists call input traits. Well, input traits, what they do is they improve efficiencies of the crops, and they increase the yields, and the farmers then get to help lower their cost. So we think that using the programs that we've got, we can support young entrepreneurial companies. This particular one takes chicken feathers and has developed enzymes to process those chicken feathers into the proteins that are in there to work into various animal feeds. So these companies that we've invested so far in ag biotech, a little over $2 million, have leveraged every dollar 144 times to help their companies grow. So we think that's starting to pay off. Right now in the ag biotech sector in North Carolina, we have about 80 companies that employ 4,000 folks. And 4 of the 5 top ag biotech crop science companies also call North Carolina home, and you have several of them right here in Ontario. We're working at both ends. We're working with the companies, we're working with the farmers. So we're bringing to the farmers and the growers information, programs, conferences that will tell them about how they can look to the future with some of these new pipeline opportunities that are going to be coming to their farm. So we're doing that, and we just started that December 1st because this is a new program, and we've got another one that's going to happen next Monday in another part of our state. We're putting together what we call a BCERT program. A BCERT program is a shorthand for a certification program for farmers and growers so they can understand how to handle any kind of a modified crop all the way from the seed until it's harvested, so that they can track it and take care of it with the SOPs that are necessary. The USDA has given us feedback, and they said, this is really good because we don't know of any other organization or any other state in the United States that has this type of program. They told us, they said, this type of training program is going to really help us as we work with other states in the United States. So look at this diagram that I put together. Gordon and I were talking earlier about genetically modified organisms and the fact that that's really the sector that I have painted in there dark. And it's the only one that most of you probably know a lot about because it's the only one that the news media has written about. And that's the one that really is the first wave of biotechnology. But the rest of the pie is the other types of biotechnology development that are just now getting into the pipeline and are being developed. They're a long way from the market. When I say that, maybe some things a year and a half, 2 years, up to 10 years, like most research-based development. So as we look at the first wave, there's going to be a second wave. The first wave is those input traits to help the agronomics of growing crops. The second wave is opposite that, And it's what we call value-added or output traits. Those are the ones that are really going to interest the public, because the majority of public is not involved in farming. Less than 1% of our public is involved in farming. The majority of us are going to be interested in things that are going to help us with our nutrition, with our health, with our medicine, with improving our environment and managing waste. Biotechnology can do all of that. There are companies right here in Canada and Ontario that are doing the second wave already. And that's what we're working with in the future, is all of this happening. The third wave is going to get even more personal to you. And that could end up being a third and a fourth wave, but I've got two sectors there listed as the third wave. And it all depends on the economy of the world as to whether it's going to be 3 and 4 or whether they're both going to happen at once. And it's going to be built around diagnostics. I've got one example up there that I was sharing this morning about a company that's able to create a diagnostic test for dairy farmers to determine if each cow has mastitis right there in the dairy barn, because that's a critical thing for supplying milk to you. And then also therapeutics. We're going to see more and more things coming from plants to go into human consumption, animal consumption, to help cure diseases. So look for those waves. These are things of the future as we look into the crystal ball. So part of our future is that we're creating some things I have listed here, like commercialization centers. I know you've done some of that already here and have done a great job with it. We're looking at greenhouse technology accelerators, because a lot of this is going to be required of expensive greenhouse space, which is definitely not cheap, and for young companies to really capitalize on. And I've already mentioned the other two programs I have listed there. So we've got some expected outcomes, a whole list of them. The list could be much longer, but here's just a few that I think is going to help economic development of our society and each one of us. Doesn't matter where you live, whether it's in the U.S. or in Ontario. And so we have all of these things, and this is a little bit of a point to you that right now we don't have a lot of snow, and it sounds like you're going to be getting some. So we do have a wonderful state, a beautiful state. We're inviting all of you to come down and share it with us and visit. Great golf courses and museums and a wonderful climate.